I was discovered by Quincy Jones. I had been interested in singing, so I was about 15, 16, and I went to the trouble of finding a vocal coach in New York City. And I started studying with a wonderful vocal coach by the name of Myron Earnhardt. And one day we did some piano voice demos in a little studio right in the building where I would take lessons. And those piano voice demos got to Quincy Jones by literally 2 degrees of separation. Quincy heard the demos, called me up, and basically asked me if I'd like to work with him. He then went out and found a song called It's My Party, and I'll Cry If I Want To. And we recorded that. He released it, and like about a week later, I heard it on radio, and a big New York station, like WABC, or one of the really big radio stations at the time. And about 6 weeks later, it was the #1 song in the nation. But when people ask me that, I really like to say it really wasn't overnight. It took almost a week. Quincy was my greatest mentor in terms of people who actually took me, showed me how to read a score, got me my first music box, was there to help me rehearse the band on my first tour in England. So he was really a tremendous help to me. I had other people that I loved a lot, but I couldn't call them mentors. Like there were a string of incredible women singers at the time. And I'm thinking, of course, there was Sarah Vaughan and there was Ella Fitzgerald, who, you know, were God to me. But I also loved a number of women who were just slightly under the popularity of some of these women. I'm speaking of like June Christie and Anita O'Day. And these were women, frankly, who were not, you couldn't look up to them as heroes. They really had very difficult lives. They were girl singers. They were on the bus with the band, and they were drinking and smoking and carrying on, and they had to be kind of one of the boys. So it wasn't a really easy life for women singers then. So why I chose to do what they're doing, I'm not sure, except that I love to sing. So I just continued through, and it was really a good decision. I did a lot of television at the time, and there were a number of television shows I could do, like Hullabaloo and Shindig, and of course there was the Sullivans and the Tonight Shows and all those. But there were plenty of music shows, so I could actually sort of keep a career alive, even though I wasn't out doing live concerts. I love acting, but I love acting live on a stage in a musical part of a company. I discovered long ago that doing film is just a little too boring for me. I love the energy of the live audience and needing to, needing to reach the bar every time. You know, you can't slough off when you're working live. You're in a studio, you can try things, they may not work, everyone points fingers and laughs at you, but you can do it again. I'm sure most people don't realize that in the 60s, we were recording 4-track. That was the state of the art then. And that really meant that you didn't layer your tracks. You didn't bring in the rhythm section and put the rhythm section down first. You had the whole band in that studio. And I remember when we did party, we had probably about 23 musicians in the room. There were 2 microphones hung in the studio over the band. There was probably about 15 musicians. And there was 8 or 9 singers all around one microphone to the left, and I was in the booth. And that was the 4 tracks. It was the singers, the 2 microphones, and Lesley. And so when we went into the studio for 3 hours, we came out with 4 songs, completely done, practically mixed. And that was the difference between then and now. Big difference. I'll tell you, I've often thought that if I were trying to break into the business at this point in my career, I would be completely stymied because I would never have had the nerve to audition for American Idol. So, I mean, I'd be just standing on the street corner trying to make change, you know. I couldn't have done that. What I would tell young people today is that there is so much that musicians know, and they get better and better and better. Every 10 years, it's like a new slew of incredible musicians come in. I say study and know your instrument, or know your voice, or know what aspect you want to do in the theater or in a concert, and really study it. Talk to the best, work with the best, find mentors, because there's a lot of competition out there. It wasn't like when I started, you know, a couple of gals out there named Connie Francis and Brenda Lee, you know, trying to make it. But today, you really got to know what you're doing.
I hear them whisper when I walk by. He's gonna break her heart and make her cry. I know it's me they're talking about, that they all think I'll never find. Oh, maybe I know, maybe I know that he's been untrue. Oh, but what can I do?
New York is just, it's just the best place to play. There are a lot of great clubs around the country and a lot of wonderful venues and theaters, but New York is just the best place to be. I have some of my fans have been in my fan club now for 45, 44 years. They come to many gigs, they see all the new stuff, they critique me, they send emails, I like the new song, take the third one, put it in the fifth spot. I mean, they're very much involved in my career, and they've been amazing fans for the last bunch of years. I know most of them by name. I know when they're coming to a gig, and they're so supportive. I can't begin to tell you how wonderful it is to be in their presence. It's like family. It's the energy that the audience gives you that's so exciting. And I mean, they're easily a third of the show. So that's the exciting part for me. After all these years, that's why I do it, to work with an audience.